What's good in the world? What's wrong? Elle Cameron, Eric Henderson. Transforming what's overwhelming. That's Elle Cameron's gig, and she is great at it. Transforming what's overwhelming in estate sales and decluttering. Big opportunities to downsize and right size for a healthier tomorrow. How about that?
For a healthier tomorrow. That's nice.
You've got you've had 2 weeks vacay from the talk shop, and how do you return? Are you refreshed? Did you get that invigoration from this morning's snow?
Yeah. So I went to Abuja, Nigeria, in Africa. And it was like 99 degrees the whole time I was there. No rain, no precipitation.
Well, no wonder you were bundled up like Alaskan.
And then you come back here and there's snow, and it's like, what's that about? But yeah, that's what I've been doing. It was amazing. It is the kind of culture, it is the kind of space that you imagine. So, it was very hot. But immediately when after I got my ride to where I was staying, you can't help but notice how the traffic is, right? Like there's no one follows any lines. There's no street signs. There's no, like, what's a red light? There's no reason to have a red light. Just go right through it. Again, it is kind of what you expect, I think, in some ways. A lot of trash along the highways, a lot of just trash gathered up in spots along the highways. But also stands and people just selling everything, like just everywhere on the interstate, on roads, just everywhere you go. There's somebody, who's got some mangoes in their hand, and they're just gonna, as you drive by, they're gonna hand you a mango, and you're gonna give them some money. Like that's how you would do shopping. It's almost like it almost reminded me of Frontier Days in a way. Because, there's just shops everywhere, and you can just like get a turkey leg here and
pop-ups and street side vendors and everything.
Yeah, that was amazing. And of course, like one of the forms of transportation is motorcycles, right? So there's always somebody ready to give you a ride to wherever you're going on a motorcycle, of all things. So I took one, right? I took a motorcycle to the supermarket, which is not like our supermarkets at all.
Sidecar motorcycle or back on the back?
Right, just right on the back. And because I'm in this community, like you can hear people going, "Weibo, Weibo," which is white woman going by. So that was, the white woman is here. White woman from Wyoming is here. But really, one of the things that struck me about the entire adventure was the security at the airports and my experiences at the airports. Like I had different experiences. But the experiences I had at the airport. So my flight got delayed because Lufthansa's pilots went on strike. So then I got rescheduled to a different flight. And there was a lot of confusion about that and what I had to do to get on the airplane. And
did you depart from Laramie Regional Airport, or did you go from Denver?
I went from Denver, yeah. And then again, like the security at DIA is very different. There weren't a lot of lines. Like that wasn't the problem at all. There was confusion about my tickets. But once I got through that, like security was very fast. It was very thorough. Didn't have to take off a lot of things, go right through the security. But the other thing is the biometrics identification, right? So when I got to where I was catching my international flight, so I flew from Denver to London, they took a picture of my face. Well, Lufthansa had already asked me to do that. So really all I needed to board the airplane was for them to take a picture of my face and have it match with my passport. Like the biometrics of that
cutting
kind of
edge
technology,
today.
Right? Didn't need my boarding pass, didn't need anything other than my passport and then that facial recognition. And then I get to London. And, there I'm just checking flights, right? I'm just going from this flight to this flight. So, and we're already late. We're already like 2 hours late. So I just got to go. And have you been to Heathrow? I've never been to Heathrow
I have not.
before. Okay. No. I've never been there before. Didn't see a lot of it. Didn't see a lot of whatever. But I just remember like a lot of walking and then going down a bunch of floors on an elevator and then walking across the hallway and then going up an elevator and up a bunch of stairs and back down the other way. Like it would have been so easy just to have like a sky, loop over. But I had to do that for all this security reasons. You have to go through all that security going back. Again, got through all that, not really a problem, got to my flight. My flight was on time, so that was nice. But then, like seeing the people I started to see started to differ because previously I'd seen like mostly white people, and now I was starting to see more and more black people. So that started to change. But anyway, I flew from London to Cairo. So Cairo, Egypt. I've never been there, and I can't say I've been to Cairo proper, but I've been to Cairo's airport. So there you go. I can say I've been to
And all the
Egypt.
countries you flew over.
And all the country and the Mediterranean.
All
Right? I
right.
flew over the Mediterranean.
Did you have a window seat, or did
No,
you take an aisle?
no, because then I feel too cramped. Right? Like I got the window here and somebody here. What am I going to do? I like to take a middle seat because then I can go either way. That's true. So, but Cairo was interesting. Egypt was interesting, and the security there was very different as well. So again, putting your luggage through a scanner, and that happened more than once. Like there were a couple of places in line. We had to wait in one spot, and then we went to another room to wait, and then we went to another room to wait. But the couple things that happened in Cairo that were different and security wise. So we're all standing in line, and the announcer says in English and in Egyptian or Arabic, men first, men only, men first, men first, men only.
Did that sound better in a foreign language or than it did in English?
It didn't sound good either way for me. I'm like, what? But I was like, okay, I'm going to hang out with the ladies, right? If men get to go first, then, I'll hang out with the ladies.
Wow.
What I didn't, and I get that, right? Like we get that different culture and that different way of being. And there were men with several women with them who were in the burqas, who were fully dressed in the Muslim attire. There were a lot of men dressed in traditional dressings, and same with women, a lot of women like that. So here the women are left and the men go ahead and go. But as I was watching and I was observing, I noticed a woman in a uniform show up, and very hurriedly, like getting back to where she needed to be in security. And one of the things that they will not let you do is they will not let a man do a body check on you. Now, nowhere else, not at DIA, not in London, did anyone do a body check on me, except the scanner that you go through. You go through that scanner thing, that happened, but nobody else touched my body in any way until I got to Cairo. And then it was only until a woman showed up to give us the body check that we were allowed to go in, because a man could not touch any of us. So that was an interesting experience, and not one that I didn't anticipate. It just was interesting to go through it and actually have that kind of experience where they were serious, like no man was going to touch a woman, even to do a body check. And that was the extent of that security. And then when I got to Abuja, they scanned my luggage, and I was gone, right? I was on my way. Coming back, though, again, in the Abuja airport, it wasn't much security, right? It was checking my passport, checking my boarding pass, and then pretty much letting me on board, except that everywhere I went along the way, anybody who was in a security uniform asked to see my passport. And when they checked my luggage, they just opened it, looked at it, and closed it up.
Fast scan.
So got through Abuja, was on my way to Frankfurt. So that was my next stop in an airport was Frankfurt. And Frankfurt was very different. So I got off the plane, went through the security. When they did the security check, this was my last stop before flying back to the U.S. They checked my luggage. They found my cream rinse, which was an 8-ounce bottle, but they found it and they checked it. Like they pulled it out of my bag and they checked to make sure it wasn't like a flammable liquid. They did in Frankfurt, they did the most thorough search of my luggage. Like I had to stand there, and not just I had my carry-on and my backpack. They pulled things out of my backpack. Nowhere else along my flight had that security been that stringent, right? Like they really looked at my luggage, which I found fascinating. And in all of the airports,
did it increase your comfort, or did it heighten your awareness that there was a different area of the world?
It just heightened my awareness. Right? Like I got on an airplane with those items in my luggage, and nobody had previously checked them to the extent that Frankfurt had. Except I think DIA scans them really well, but yeah. Like
I wonder
they
how
checked in.
many travelers pass through Frankfurt airport as
Yeah,
opposed to DIA. I wonder what the comparison is.
probably
That way.
similar, but I don't know.
I have no idea. Well, that's an amazing. So, most memorable point in your trip. What was most memorable?
Okay, so most memorable is other being like wave a white woman. Again, the police force was present everywhere, and especially in Abuja in Nigeria. So we would never be out very late at night. As soon as the sun set, we knew we needed to get back to where we were staying. But the police presence was always there. So more than once, a flashlight would be in the car, strewn, it put in the car, and everybody would be looked at, and then the police officer would again yell out like "white woman," so everybody knew like there was a white woman in this car, that kind of thing. But what got to me, it's hard to say. I love art.
Can you imagine culturally if we went black woman, white woman?
I know if we just did that everywhere.
Can you imagine that? Wow.
Right? Like, what would happen to us? Like,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
I know, but it made you think, didn't it? Like, what if we all just walked around calling out people's color brown?
We'd be crucified in America if we did that.
I think that if there were a black woman in parts of rural Wyoming, people would get notified.
Yeah, but you don't scream it from the side of the car.
Right?
You know,
Police officer. Black woman! Maybe you do. But it's hard to say. I went to the Nikki Art Gallery, which it was amazing. Had artists from Abuja and artists in residence that were willing to talk to me and to share with me about their art and what they were building, what their hopes for with their art. So I spent a lot of time at that art gallery. And then I went to an art market. So this was like just shacks. Wow. And people selling just
sculpture, canvas, paint, different media.
Right. Really. And to get there, right, I had to walk like on a dirt road, and it could be.
Did you get your steps in?
I don't know. All right. I don't think so, because we bolted everywhere. So Bolt is like Uber, right?
Right.
So you get a Bolt and you go wherever you're going, and it's got air conditioning, so you got a Bolt everywhere. So we were at the art market, and we were done there, and we were waiting for our Bolt. And I had seen these cows, and I know we've seen cows. I live in Wyoming. I've lived in Wyoming my whole life. I've herded cows, okay? Cows. But there are cows everywhere, right? There's just cows just wandering the streets, whatever. There's just cows.
Sacred.
No, not really.
Apparently.
They just heard it. So we're waiting for the Bolt, and I look across the street, and I see the cows, and I'm like, oh. And my cousin had just asked me. She just said, send me some pictures of whatever you see right now. And I'm in urban Africa. I am not in rural Africa. I'm not on a safari. I am having an urban experience of Africa. So I'm taking pictures of like the street and all the cars.
How many pictures did you take?
Not a lot. I did not take a lot.
Gassed.
I know. I took a few though that are really precious. So I see the cows, and I look down, and I send the picture to my cousin, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I see. And I look up.
Not one picture to the talk shop. Not one.
Like I said, I did not take a lot of pictures. And I'm having this conversation right now with you, Eric. So what was my most memorable moment? I look across the street, and the cows are coming straight at us. Like, the cows are coming across this busy intersection. The cars are stopping. There's no police. There's no one guiding traffic. There's nothing. There's just this herd of, I think they're white Angus cows.
Okay.
That's what they look like. They've got, like, that's what I would call them. So there's a herd of white cows just coming straight at us, like close enough for me to reach out and touch them. And at the very end, there's two boys. They're probably 11, 12 years old. Got their little whip things, and they are just herding
them along,
herding the cows through whatever, like wherever.
I wonder if you need a permit.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think you need a permit. I don't think you need anything.
Imagine if we did that in Laramie, Wyoming.
I know. Right?
I remember Laramie Jubilee days where we used to herd cattle down 3rd Street from north to south to the fairgrounds.
Not the same thing.
And that was wild.
Yeah.
That was wild when we were doing it on horseback and
right.
ATVs and all that good stuff.
Right, not the same thing. Just these two boys herding this fairly good size, 20, 25 cows.
There's a fair fair amount of planning that went into that every year. And in your country experience, your travel, you just saw it wild and free.
Yeah, just
Are we really free in America? This sounds like freedom. What you saw.
And I ate cow while I was there. So there was a
Beef?
stand. Absolutely, there was a stand.
It's what's for L.
And it was a good piece of beef. Beef and onion. The onion was absolutely delicious.
How about the
sweet,
flavors?
wonderful.
Yeah,
It
tell
was
us
good.
about that.
Very,
we just had an international taste of Laramie.
Yeah, right.
April 14th through the 18th,
yeah.
and that.
I hope they had Nigerian food.
I'm lucky we got that because I certainly didn't get
Yeah.
what you got.
Pepper soup with catfish. Woo. Pepper soup with catfish. Try eating that. I could not eat the whole thing. I could eat some of it.
Was it big or too hot?
It was
too spicy.
It was a lot, and I don't eat a lot. And
big
it was,
portions.
And I mean, once you get used, and the flavor's great. You know, as you start to eat it, it's really, really good. So, yeah, it was interesting. Are we free? I don't know. In order to get on an airplane, you have my biometrics. My face is out there, right? Like, turn left, turn right, look forward. My
Do
face,
they really?
Yeah, my face is
like
out there.
You're a daily edition of a mugshot.
Right. So what's privacy? What's privacy? If now my face, like I can get my phone facial recognition, I can get on my bank account facial recognition.
Wow.
What has that done to us? And then to go someplace where the government deliberately turns off the electricity about sunset every night. So unless you own a generator, your electricity's off because the government shuts it off. And then you come back here and lights are on 24/7.
Flip of a switch.
Flip of a switch.
Oh, no.
Not even a flip of a switch, they're just always on.
Always available.
Yeah. So what is freedom?
Huh.
When you
were gone, while you were gone, we had a couple take opportunity to come in. We visited with Gail Woodsum of Feeding Laramie Valley. One taking the opportunity to visit with us, and that led up to Elway Power Sports of Laramie and their spring open house, which was this past Saturday, April 25th, and so I was excited by the fact. First of all, I thought, oh, Elle's not going to be in here, but then I had some takers that like to make opportunity theirs, and so that was exciting too. And this morning the Talk Shop welcomed Marguerite P. Nataro and her cousin Tony P. From New York, and he talked about his artwork and his adventure in life, a career in art, and you know, he used to do hedge fund kind of stuff, and I asked him, I said, art's a relax, isn't it? Yeah. And he said definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Right. Hedge fund artist.
You know, if you had a choice, I'd create every day. That'd be dynamite.
Right.
And in some ways, the Talk Shop is exactly that, because it's really a canvas for visitors and guests to make this program an asset of information for the community, and we talk, we listen, hopefully together we learn and take that adventure. We have to live a little vicariously through the El Camerons of the world, travel in the world. Yeah, nice, very nice. Great. I'm glad you got to do that. Did you take it in a big group or a small group?
No, it's just a few of us, so it was just small. It was,
and you return before May 5th. May 5th is a special election in Albany County.
Yeah, thank goodness I
did. Have you early voted, or are you planning on voting in the 1% specific purpose excise tax?
I am planning on voting. I just don't know which way I'm going to vote yet.
Are you unsure whether you're going to vote absentee or early, or are you going to vote on the election day?
I just don't know. I'll probably go in sometime between now and election day, like just put it on a list, of things to do day, maybe the next
having invited the town of Rock River, Laramie Regional Airport, Terrell, Amy Terrell, and the commissioners of Albany County and the city council members, city staff, all welcome to come in and educate people on the $95 million proposition, which is requested, and it's really looking for information. I'm not looking I'm not looking for a position for or against, but I want
Yeah.
core information so
I agree.
that citizens can go to the polls informed.
I agree.
And there's items that people want to know more detail on. What is this? What's this actually mean? What is funding for part of the cost foregoing? There's a lot of legalese kind of
Right,
jig
yes.
and jargon in this, and some of the endeavors like surface water management, not specifically assigned to a street. This is concerning to
Right.
many people, and
Right.
I sit there and I wonder, well, is this money going to fund the blight area designation on 32 acres, where the acreage is $78,000 per acre,
Right.
2.5 million
Right.
approximately in total value, and our public monies are going to fund this development. We're going to
Right.
make
So we
this
would like to
development
know-
happen for the property
Right.
owners.
Right.
And-
we would like to know.
And that has an impact, a rolling impact for up to 30 years,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
these property taxes right now, about $3,700, are frozen, and it's frozen until that tax incremental financing is paid back piece by piece,
Right,
and it
right.
goes. They make their tax payment on that developing property, and the assessor's going to do a great job for Albany County and do it fair and accurate. But as that develops, our schools, our public safety, fire and police, they're not getting any of that money
Right.
in the interim.
Right.
Up to 30 years of a rolling impact where we will be increased burden, heightened
Right,
risk
right.
going into this, and there's not a conversation from the public, staff or council
Okay,
about this topic, and people
And
want to
nothing in
know.
the newspaper either. And it's not a yes. I mean, it's not like we can pick and choose which ones. It's either a yes, no. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a for or against
Right,
deal.
right. So-
You've got, look at this. I mean, show this up. There's a
Yeah.
front and back legal size paper, and that is a sample ballot.
Right. Right.
And
So,
that deal is a
one,
page
two,
and a half.
three.
A page and a half.
there's 4 different items on here, and either we say, see, that's just it. That's why I'm having trouble saying how I feel about this. We do need more information. We need a lot more information, because I don't really want to hurt the city of Rock River
1.6
The town of
million
Rock
Rock
River,
Rivers requested
because
in
we don't
projects.
understand there's not enough information.
They're very specific
to
in
be
Rock
back
River,
out.
though.
Yeah.
Look at the specificity.
Yeah,
Just
right.
read the first initiative.
It would be nice to just be able to say yes to Rock River. $175,000 for the purchase of a hydrovac trailer to be used for hydro evacuation of buried utility lines and cleaning wastewater manholes.
One sentence, maybe two.
Yeah,
Rock River getting it done with how many initiatives by the town of Rock River that they proposed?
Rock River has A through G. How many is that? 6?
Yeah, so you got to love multiple issues with
7.
great specificity. I love the simplicity. Rock River getting it done, A through G, in less than 2 inches on the
Right.
overall presentation. I love that specificity. Now go to the $4 million for the Laramie Regional Airport. What's the specificity in it?
For $4 million, there's 2. We've got 2.
Okay.
A and B. A, as local match money to fund the airport's respective shares of the cost to seal and mark pavements, reconstruct commercial apron, I don't know what that means, rehabilitate taxiways, it's in there twice, reconstruct or extend runways, construct new snow removal equipment building, and construct dicing pad or another substitute or replacement to one of the aforementioned projects, and critical maintenance of currently existing buildings on Laramie Regional Airport property, repair and or replacement of access gates and upgrades or perimeter fencing. So you said you invited
Amy Terrell,
Amy Terrell.
director. No response yet to the talk shop. The
right.
talk shop text line is open. If you would like, Amy, as you watch this,
Yeah.
or you get somebody refers you to it, the invitation is open. And I
Yeah,
will come out
yeah.
to Laramie Regional Airport like I did the Albany County Fairgrounds, and
Yeah.
I took a tour from Taylor Haley. She was gracious enough, set up with Katie Ogden, and she's if she's not a current board member, she was a past board member for the Fair Board, And they gave me a tour of the grandstands and showed
Okay.
me the improvements they would like to make. That's a $4 million proposition
Yeah,
on there.
yeah.
But we find out that the initiative is probably a $2 million with a $2 million in match or something that maybe
Right.
it takes the materials. And I needed to ask better questions there. And I hoped that with maybe the Albany County Commissioners, I might get that opportunity to do that.
Right.
And so far, I haven't had that. But I did have Albany County Clerk Kayla White
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Albany County Treasurer
Yeah.
Miss Fletcher and Tracy Fletcher in Studio 255. They talked about the ballot. They talked about the
Okay.
dates. They talked about you got to get it correct, Eric. We're doing it this way, and
Right.
and it's a little different, but it's all
We want
valuable.
the truth. So the animal shelter, what else am I seeing? The fire department, Laramie Fire Department Station
You're in the
1.
City of Laramie section,
Yeah,
right?
City of Laramie, sidewalk improvement, and the rec center.
And
Western
there's much
portion of Bill Nye Avenue.
at the Progressive Voter Alliance
There's the street.
Laramie earlier this month. Sheriff Applehans clarified for me my
Yeah.
mistake in that I had attended commissioner meetings and city
Yeah.
council meetings, and I was under the impression that the facility that was being looked at was going to be a multi-department facility,
Okay.
and therefore I was under the impression that the sheriff's department would be part of that. And he distinguished that detail was my mistake,
Okay.
but not without understanding. He was very
So the sheriff's
he was
department
very
is
sharing
not
in
included.
information, and that was a group of about 40 in attendance at the PVA Laramie on the 20th, I think it was.
Yeah.
And in any event, there's a lot of value to people showing up.
Right.
And people taking every opportunity they can. This is a no-cost endeavor to public officials and citizens. Weigh in.
Right.
Weigh in. Let's have the conversation. Are there specific areas that you question that you might like answers to, Elle, as you
I
consider
think
the
you were talking
initiative?
about earlier, the wastewater, but again, just more information. I think it's hard that we do have to just say yes or no, yes or no.
Right.
And I'm like, no new taxes, right? Why do
This
we need
is
more
this
taxes?
is not a new tax. It's a renewal of
Okay.
one that's been engaged since 1987.
That makes sense.
1987.
Yeah.
But this is also an opportunity in the face of rising inflation and rising costs to live. This is an opportunity to affect and impact. Some people might choose less tax.
Right.
They might need a breather. And if
Right.
you think about if you do a $100 purchase and this is a penny, then that adds up through
Sure.
the course of a family's consideration. And then as you think about all of the various things, if voters get an opportunity to have a say, will this be a message to government that we like or we don't like how you're operating? Will this be a
Right.
recognition of we think you can spend better, we think you can spend more wisely, or do we think you're doing a great, fantastic job and we support you wholeheartedly? I think the community's going to be split, undoubtedly.
Okay.
And
All
we'll
right.
find out what the percentage
That's
is.
interesting that you think so. I mean, it is like I can go back and forth too. Like it is that dichotomy of no new taxes, and I am living in a free democratic society, and part of my responsibility of living in that democracy is to pay taxes that are going to improve the infrastructure, are going to improve,
I think I was buying a gallon of milk, and it was $3.49 at one location. Then I like raw milk, so I went to the Wild Bunch Trading Post farm stand, 1951 Snowy Range Road,
Yeah.
and I got I actually took goat milk, raw goat milk,
Okay.
in on that transaction, and wow, what an amazing taste
Yeah.
difference between the two.
Right.
And delicious.
Right.
I'm a milk fan. Goat
Yeah.
milk, raw cow milk, dairy. I just
Yeah.
love it. And so
Okay.
dairy, non-dairy, I'm pretty much a fan. I've even gone in terms of soy. I've endeavored there, and do I notice any long standing effect either way? Not really beyond the immediate satisfaction of the cold drink, but I think it, and that makes it
So what does
real.
that have to do with taxes?
Well, taxes, when you talk about the cost of milk, to me, you're going down a path of costs of goods, costs of living.
Right.
And to me, that comes to affordability. And in affordability, I say, is our government concerned about groceries so much that they're finding better ways to save? Are we curbing our spending? It's one thing to say we're controlling spending and we're being prudent with the citizens' money, but then we're helping. We're actually, who funds a tax incremental financing situation on a 32-acre development owned by 4G Enterprises? It's going to be what's it? Urban Renewal Agency initiative that's being made available to the developer of that private property owner, and they're going to get subsidy from you and I, and that, as I look to whether I paint my home, whether I put new windows, more efficient windows, these are things that impact whether I'm able to do that or not do that.
Right.
And I don't hear that. That's not part of the conversation that comes in. And I'm looking at a specific purpose excise tax initiative of $4 million. I know that in surface water, it's $4 million on the ballot. It's going to be $4 million match from the general fund. Who pays $8 million? We are already paying $8 million. Right. And I couple that. I stack that on the reality that I already pay property tax. To have a roof over my head.
Okay, all right.
I have that.
I get that.
Right.
So now we're talking about the responsibility of the citizen to pay taxes and yet be overburdened by those taxes as well. That's not right. Like, we need to address the overburden of the taxpayer, of the citizen, to pay those taxes.
And is it worthwhile to have a discussion on maybe the city of Laramie engaged in building a rec center? Mm-hmm. Should at this point in life, where we're starting to realize the expenses of ongoing management and operation of this very facility, should we look at transferring that to a commercial operator? Should we look at that and then subsidizing that? Are there ways to be more efficient or effective in our spending? Right. I don't know. But not having the conversations is to me probably the greatest endeavor for the talk shop is public awareness. Are we communicating? How can we do better? In what ways can the talk shop help, or Elle or Eric? What can we engage in? And I'm just happy that you're back. You can vote. I want more people to weigh in. I want it to be it's a voter right by statute, and I do not care for our government, any level of government, bypassing the voter. Right. And when we are statutorily assured of a right to say yes or no, the electorate should be respected.
I think you're going to see more people voting yes on this. I think this is going to be a pretty
The real benefit to this is that 20 or 30% of that money, that $95 million collected, isn't paid by you or I. It's paid and supplemented by guests to our community.
Right, this is true.
This is a subsidized citizen interest that is paid by visitors to our community, or they come in for a Wyoming Cowboy football game from 22 other counties, and they're helping with sales tax and a penny at a time. They're helping to pay for our infrastructure and our projects. Be them vague or more specific, they are helping. And
overall,
that's 20% gain on our money.
Is that overall? Is there more good to be done than bad that will be done? Is there more good for the people?
Well, I guess, and I said that in a conversation this weekend. What was posed back to me was, what is the greater good when we don't send a message to our government?
Okay.
And we allow less than the best in this situation and that situation. And their example was the public only gets 3 minutes to weigh in
That really bothers you.
on that. Now, shouldn't it bother more than me? It bothered this. It bothered this citizen who said, "Eric, you have been belligerent about the public getting their say.
That's right.
Public comment is as I said, public comment is trampled on. When staff and council in local government get unlimited time to talk about presentations, they get to. You or I, citizens, we don't get to ask individual questions to these presenters.
So you would prefer for the meeting to go on as long as it
To
needs
me,
to
to
go
me,
on?
to me, to me, it's not. To me, if you chose to be in public service,
Right.
you signed up for it, and to do less than that is not the best you can do. That's my statement. And you want to. For anybody that says, well,
Okay,
why don't
that's
you?
fair. That's fair.
For anybody that says, well, Eric, why don't you run? And I say, well, you know what? I don't even run. I don't get paid per meeting,
Right.
and I'm there 90% of the time.
Right.
And I'm
Okay.
watching with diligence and care. And when I go to the podium, I've been interrupted probably 80% of the time that I go up there.
Right,
Somebody's
Yeah.
alleging I smeared somebody, and somebody's alleging that I'm out of order, and I'll take all of that. I don't want to be out of order, but I also want the public to be heard.
Right.
And I also want the public to be not disregarded before they go to the podium. Just April 7th, the city council and leadership say, as one individual is finishing her testimony, takes her 3 minutes, and then another is coming to the podium. Oh, for God's sake, is the comment by council that's over the microphone. And
no.
this comes out, and
Oh, for God's
under
sake.
your breath or whatever, it's a hot mic and it's heard. And it was pointed out to me by 7 entities before 10 o'clock at night, after I just get out of the council meeting, 8:30,
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm pointed to one hour, 43 minutes into this April 7th deal, and it comes over. I thought, when I listened to it, I thought it said overdone. But no, it said, oh, for Christ's sake, oh, for God's sake, quote unquote, oh, for God's sake. And I thought, is that the level of respect for public comment, El? Is that what you would expect from an elected official?
No, not at all.
Are there
That's
any
horrible.
excuses that make that palatable?
No.
Is tired, hungry,
No.
exhausted? Is
No.
that an acceptable excuse for an elected official?
No, none of those things. Like, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
There isn't any excuse for that kind of behavior. You're right. This
So
is an
those are the
elected
moments-
official. This is somebody who has said, I want to represent the public. And now they're frustrated, they're annoyed, whatever it is. They let something slip from their mouth that was inappropriate and very reflective of how they really feel.
If you say
It's
it,
not-
if
the
you
person
say it,
should
how
not
long
be-
have you been thinking it? If you say it, how long as an elected official have you been thinking it?
Right. A long time, most likely.
Well, even if it's
while.
just that night, is it acceptable?
Right.
To have that fragment of
Right.
the public beware, to me is really striking. It's
Yeah.
very concerning.
Yeah.
And I made, let's see, today is the 27th. I made 25 days available for public apology.
Okay.
Now, I understand that apology was made directly to the individual that was coming to the podium,
Yeah.
probably inside 3 days, if not 24 hours. Now, that is really good in terms of that apology to the one, but what about to the entire public who know that this is the attitude, this is the frame of mind of leadership, and
Well,
we're
I mean,
on a time
that's when
clock,
we go
El.
to the vote.
We're on a time
when
clock,
is this
3
person
minutes.
up for election? That's the power of our vote, right? When is this person who showed such a disregard for public comment up for re-election, and who's going to run against them so that we have an opportunity to have a choice and perhaps elect? Like, that's the next step, right?
Yeah.
Is to have this person have somebody else elected instead of them.
And we all can make mistakes. I get that, but
Yeah.
life isn't about whether we do or don't make mistakes. I think we all do.
Right.
How do we handle it after that?
But that kind of mistake it seems like a reflection of an attitude, like a pinch in the heart. And if I'm not part of the 3 5 minute public debate. Like I get why there's 3 minutes. We do live in
If
a
you have
time
30,000,
crunch.
if you have 30,000 people taking 9 minutes,
Right.
3 minutes each, then that's a lot of minutes, right?
Yeah.
I do believe that there comes a point of repetition, but I also say that's a you're talking about affordability in healthcare, affordability in homes, affordability.
Right,
Every
right,
time affordability
right.
is the buzzword
Yeah.
of every campaign.
Right. Okay.
Just thus far in the campaign awareness tour, we've had federal candidates for election talk affordability,
Right.
and I sit here with vignette after vignette of contrary matters of affordability. The state of Wyoming retirement system hasn't had a cost of living adjustment in 18 years.
That's
But
beyond
state
unacceptable. It's beyond
employees
unacceptable.
have a raise every 4 years. Well, 4 versus 18.
Right.
Holy
That's
smokes,
unacceptable.
and running. And inflation hasn't stopped.
Right. That's
What's
unacceptable.
affordable about that?
Nothing.
And we don't
It's
seem
not
to
right. There's nothing right about it.
beyond the talking points, we don't walk our talk and come forward with real solutions.
Right. What is the real solution?
Well, some would say that property tax initiative that will be on the ballot come fall for 50% relief to property owners on amenities built on a property, they say that could help. Government warns that is a danger because services are threatened by that
Right.
cut.
Right.
So, there are no easy answers. But again, if you signed up to be a public elected official,
You have to
if
be a public
you signed
official.
up for the job, this
Yeah.
is your task.
Yeah. Right.
And
as long as it takes.
and it seems like have taxes gone down in the last 40 years, or have they gone up? Trending up or trending
I think
down?
they're trending up, but
Or
I don't
flat?
have that statistic in front of me.
I don't either, but
Right.
it feels like if I'm only to do a feels
Yeah,
like
going up. Brent's like,
we have
going up.
audience
I feel
in
pretty
Studio
confident they're
255
going up as
that are
well.
doing the up. They're doing
Right.
that little
Yeah, definitely going up.
Cam Newton
Yeah, they're
little
definitely
dabble do
going
you
up.
up.
Yeah.
And El Cameron, so good to have you back in studio.
Thanks. It's good to be back.
What's on your day of plan today?
Yeah, I'm gonna
T.W.O.
go, I'm gonna
transforming
go-
what's overwhelming
yeah,
for
I'm
somebody.
gonna go do some organizing. I'm gonna go dig in and get some sorting done and some organizing done, and feel like I've accomplished something by the end of the day.
When you think about the election cycle, this is a campaign. We've got about 6 minutes to the hour.
Yeah.
Any thoughts as we look at preparing to vote, whether it be the special election or the August 18th primary election in Wyoming or the November 3rd general election? What strategy do you recommend in doing your homework as a voter? What do you recommend that folks do?
Well, I mean, just do that, right? Do your homework. Like, get to know your candidates. Get to know who's running, how they feel about, like, what are your issues?
Do you like the direct
do you care about?
mailers? Do you like the door knock, the neighborhood knocking?
I mean, it's okay.
Are you a
Like,
fan
it
of
feels
those
like a tradition
things?
at this point,
Huh?
right? Like, if you don't get a door knocker during election season, have you really been a part of an election season? Like, we need the door knockers. We need the people who are willing to go knock on people's doors or pick up the phone. Or
If a candidate doesn't come to your door, do you vote for him?
I don't think that matters because you can't get to every door. I
That's
don't think
realistic,
that matters.
isn't
And can I get to the candidate? Is the question, right? Maybe the candidate can't get to me for whatever reason, but can I get to the candidate? So is the candidate somewhere where I can go to a public forum and listen to them? But I mean, check their records, know who they are.
How important is voting record for an incumbent? Do you canvass them? Do you look into spending? Do you know that that candidate financing is available through request of the Secretary of State's office in
I live
Wyoming?
in Wyoming. It's pretty easy to know how my representatives voted. Like, I don't have to go searching for it. Like, I know how Carly Provenza voted, right?
Right.
I know. Chris Rothfuss's record from watching him for years and paying attention to him. So those candidates, those people who are going to be, I don't know if Chris is up for re-election, but those candidates.
Chris Rothfuss announced his seeking re-election.
Yeah.
Hasn't responded to the talk shop yet,
Okay.
but I think that there's hope on the horizon, and we will have more candidates take the talk shop up on the candidate awareness tour invitation, and that can only help people make their decision. And voting for the primary begins like July 4th.
Yeah.
And so the real candidacy is to have that information heavy, aware, and available in June.
Yeah.
Because candidate filing period, that window begins like March 14th, ends the end of May, or May 14th, and ends the end of May.
Yeah.
And June 1, it's on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, it is.
It's already underway with conventions and those kind of considerations for Democratic Party and Constitutional Party and Libertarian Party and Democratic Party. It's a fast and furious period.
Yeah.
Do you think, having been a candidate yourself, do you think that windows of political windows campaigning should be extended? Do you think it should go like Iowa, 6 months, or do you think that we do it right in Wyoming?
I mean, we do start campaigning. Like, people were like,
well, some of them started a year ago, 18 months ago.
Right. So
some of them started and dropped out already. I mean,
good for them.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Testing the water.
They did what they needed to do.
And seeing what they can do and what they can't do. That goes back to campaign finance for me, right? If you have the dollars, you can campaign for 2 years. If you don't have the dollars, the shorter window is going to be much more effective because you only have that short time frame to campaign. I would like to see it go back to more of a reasonable time frame, like you start campaigning closer to when you actually register to run for office and start running.
How do you treat and evaluate endorsements? What's your strategy with respect to consideration? Do they influence you or do they not?
That's a marketing ploy, right? That's always a marketing ploy. To have a celebrity endorse a product, then everybody's going to want the product because the celebrity endorsed it. I mean, it's beneficial. It's absolutely beneficial to have a list of organizations, people, well-known people who say, I'm going to endorse this person and I'm going to run.
So if the Freedom Caucus endorses a candidate, if a Freedom Caucus endorses a candidate in Wyoming, is that net gain or net loss or neutral impact?
For the Freedom Caucus, it's a net gain. For Wyoming, for the people of Wyoming, it's a net loss. Like, the Freedom Caucus isn't helping Wyoming. They're not doing things to help bring people into Wyoming. They're not helping Wyoming's economy. They're not considering that. They're considering restricting more and more of my right to vote, my right to my bodily autonomy, my right to freedom of speech. They would certainly like me to not bring a gun to a protest if they thought in some way it would negatively reflect on them.
Do these thoughts match yours? Your opportunity to weigh in on the talk shop. Future shows, undoubtedly, as 2026 continues on in a campaign year, these conversations and more, we'd like to include you. Please. Will you come to the microphone? Will you join us? Join Elle Cameron and I, 7 o'clock Mondays, as we travel through 2026 and we make these considerations top of mind conversation. Elle, we appreciate you joining us. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're launching a beginner-friendly Tai Chi transformation program.